It's crazy to think about the fact that we only really cared about this stuff. Like, caring about beating your children and caring about even just, like, stuff like piles and stuff, that is a historically, like, mega recent thing.
Sure.
Isn't that, like, so distressing?
Yeah, we're not that far removed at all from it.
Like, it is so new, the idea that, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't fuck 14-year-olds. Yeah. Or, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't throw a child under a fucking U-Haul. When you're angry at him. Like, these are relatively modern concepts.
The idea of bowling a kid under a U-Haul is hilarious.
It is funny. But, like, dude, it's so like, as I saw like, this story happens every week now, it seems, like, where, like, some female teacher, like, slept with, like, a 13-year-old, like, some 13-year-old boy or whatever, and, like, everybody's arguing on the internet. It's like, some people are like, oh, nice, or, like, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. The people that say that are some of the most disgusting motherfucking people, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they've never had uncomfortable, those are virgins. Those are virgins that have never had a sexual encounter in their lives, or just don't understand people.
Hold on, I want to be fair. Because I know, well, see, look, you're rolling your eyes.
Speak.
So I want to be fair. This is like something. The reason why, because this is actually, I feel like the nuance that's missing from this argument, where it's like they don't understand where people are coming from when they say that, because people refuse to acknowledge that there are some kids that do fucked up, that they'll do fucked up shit like that. That is clearly wrong. But they're completely cool with it and they're fine with it. Not everybody. It's almost like a coin toss.
Yeah. Well, like, I think the main thing is like, it doesn't matter if they're cool with it or not. The point is that they don't have the mental faculties to make the decision whether or not they are cool with it.
Of course, that's what I mean. But I already prefaced that with saying that it's wrong. Yeah. Even though it is wrong,
you're right.
They'll grow up and they're like, I'm completely fine. Nothing happened to me personally.
Dude, I'll say this, dude. I'll say this.
And so these people are just coming from a selfish angle. They're like, this was my fantasy that I wish. And I'm like, even though I think that's fucked up,
that's true.
I'm just being, I'm almost doing a devil's advocate thing where it's like people are kind of acting like they don't understand why anybody would say that.
I respect that you did. I respect that you said that, because that is true. You are right. I was one-siding it too hard. But I know from personal experience, you think that shit is cool until you grow up later. Everyone I've known that's happened to, you grow up and you departmentalize that shit and you're like, oh. That was really not okay.
It's really,
like,
it's
really not okay. I can say, I'm not going to go into details, but I can say it personally, it's really not okay.
Dude, am I going to sit here and pretend like at 16 years old, if like Fran Drescher came up to me or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, yeah, like, well, absolutely, I'm doing this.
That's kind of the thing. And
but
also, go ahead.
It doesn't matter, because like, you can't consent then anyway. Even if you're even if you're fucking excited, you can't do that legally. You're not a child. You're a child still. You don't know what the fuck's going on. Also, pretty good chance in many, many years you're not going to look back on that particularly fondly.
Exactly.
Good chance. Not 100% chance.
Not always.
Yeah.
True.
It doesn't matter, because there's just this line that we've drawn legally that makes.
Over here, absolutely. There's a line, and purposefully, there's a reason why we do it, and it's just one of those things. Like, I feel like those people that do say that shit, they're, what would you call it? They're extremely obtuse and they're extremely selfish. The ones that always say, "Oh, I wish it was me," or because you always see those comments. I think they're, even if you feel like that, that's how you genuinely feel inside. It's kind of like, say, when there's a tragic death or something happens, there's certain things you don't say.
You don't say hi,
Yeah, there's certain things you don't say, even if you feel it. If you can feel the comedy within it.
We are not the best people to do this. To make this argument.
That's very true.
That is also very true.
Because the second I mentioned that Pee Wee Herman died, not 3 seconds later.
That's true.
We were off on a complete diatribe about it.
But yes, that is very true. But in fairness,
but Pee Wee Herman dying was funny.
Like, that's the
it was funny. It was funny.
Let's use look. We wouldn't. Okay. We were talking about Israel, Palestine, not really talking about it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There are certain aspects about what is happening over there that I would not dare joke about, right?
Right.
There are certain things that, and then there's those, no, you're right though, not yet. It's just definitely not the time. But then there's those guys, the ones that get in those comment sections and say, "Oh, based" or some shit, whenever they see the old woman fucking the 13-year-old, where I'm like, bro, even if your fucking dumbass thinks that actually is based, shut the fuck up. Like, just join society and stop being such a fucking cunt.
But what's crazy about it too is like,
unfuck must be. Look, dude.
No, but the reason I brought it up,
I would have turned her over. I would have split her. Okay, we go ahead.
I would have split her. I would have split her. I would have fucking pissed in her own bladder. Oh my god. Like, yo, chill, dude.
Dude, oh man, I would have peed in her. Would have peed in her womb and got her pregnant.
I would love to be arguing with some guy and hear them say that. Well, yeah, when you pee in her and you get pregnant.
But dude, the reason I bring that up is because, like, dude, like, it's so startlingly recent that this was a problem. So, like, people were like, people were wondering, like, oh, has this always been happening or is it getting worse? And people were like, oh, it's definitely getting worse. And it's like, no, dude, it's what the sad reality is. It's definitely getting better.
It's getting better for
That's
sure.
What's so bad about it.
Sure.
It's like, dude, you see, like, people are like seeing like this stuff. Even we were just talking about like the videos coming out of like Palestine in the Middle East and all this shit. Like these like live leak tier stuff happening on Twitter or whatever, and people are like, oh my god, the world is so fucked. And it's like, it is. It's also the most peaceful it's ever been. Think about that shit. Yeah. Think about how fucked the world has been forever for this to be a significant step up.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I want to put things in perspective. The wars that are being fought right now, say Ukraine, Russia, and then like the Middle Eastern conflicts and stuff like that. When they talk about casualties, it's in the like low thousands, which is a ton of fucking people. But then when you study wars, like just that were not that long ago.
World War II was fucking absurd.
There were people dying from every corner of the planet. That's what made it great. People were dying a lot everywhere, all over. Americans were dying, French, even in Germans, Russians, Japanese.
Let's just not even take it globally. Like, say, even in just like the Vietnam conflicts, right? That was like, say, 50 to 60,000 U.S. soldiers. Well over 1 million Vietnamese. I think it was like 1 million or 3 million or something. Like, the numbers are fucking just staggering. And then you're like, we aren't warring like that anymore. It's like we are.
That's not to say that it's still not horrible, but like,
of course,
it's just, that's what I'm talking about.
We're trending in the right direction,
right. But what I'm saying is like when it comes to like like these stories about like pedophiles in schools or whatever, or like teachers sleeping with like students or whatever, people pretending like it's getting worse, or like that it's like, oh, this is like a new thing, or it's like, this is clearly just being reported more because it's only recently that this has even been a problem. Dude, in the 70s, this would have just been schoolyard fucking gossip at the most.
Did you hear Jackie fuck Mr. Roro? Yeah, good for him.
Dude, I know people who are like older than me who have stories of like, oh yeah, that was the teacher that just slept with everybody.
Brother.
And nothing happened. Yeah. Nothing happened at all.
There's still that person. My age, I knew a guy.
Men and women, by the way.
Right.
This was like both of them were just like getting away with it.
Right.
It's crazy.
I went to school with a guy that, and like I said, the culture still remains of hush hush. And instead of bringing these people to justice, cause there's a guy I went to school with where he impregnated, whoopsie doopsie, a 16-year-old, and we were probably. I forgot how old we were, but I think maybe we're early 20s now or something. And I was like, and everybody was like, did you hear about that fucking guy? Did you hear about that guy? And I was like, what the fuck? And apparently, he talked to the parents and they were just like, well, gee golly, that's unfortunate, but, okay. And then they got, they stay together. And it's just one of those things where that was very old school vibes. And, I don't know if you heard about this recently. This is, you remember when the story about, Roe v. Wade's overturned, and then there's that 10-year-old girl that got raped, and then she was going to travel across state lines to go get an abortion. She was fucking like 10 or something,
a baby
or whatever.
Oh my God.
And then when they reached into it was her mom's like lover or something that did it.
Oh my
God! They tried to interview the mom about it, and the mom was like protecting the guy, and that's when your brain was fully like my brain fully melted at that point. At the moment where I was like, "Why would you protect?" But my point being, you still see remnants of that, but that was how it was always. I mean, go ask your fucking grandparents about or just go see how old your grandparents are when they got together and shit. It's like you're like, oh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little
it
weird.
was just normal for 99.9999% of all human time.
Yeah.
It has been just a thing. It's only recently been a problem.
Yeah.
Just recently,
Wild.
women became, I don't know, cognitive, partners.
Oh, yeah, they're
very
actually,
recently they became
actual
real men.
They have
sort of.
sovereignty and autonomy and shit. Technically,
Yeah.
I guess. 'Cause-
Like, I don't
Weren't
know,
there
like,
weren't there well,
you know,
that's not exactly the same.
oh, I guess
Because
in some cultures, you mean? Like
because there are
was,
some cultures that treated them significantly
that's true.
better.
I guess we're talking in like
I'm talking about
very-
literally throughout all time, throughout all culture. Like I mean literally omniculturally, dude. Like it was just like, oh yeah, my wife's 10.
yeah.
that's
Like
so
everywhere,
insane to me.
fucking
Yeah, there's-
everywhere.
so insane to me.
In
Like, oh, you can have
German,
a kid now? Let's
Japanese,
go, we're getting married.
India, fucking Native American, European, like all of it.